Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a bit of a different video because today I'm going to be reviewing a particular gig I saw the other week, and it is none other than the infamous Loree Shore. What a fucking gig that was. And it was also the first gig where I got to see myself back in a mosh pit since 2020. And who could blame me? I mean, look at this lineup. Look at how juicy that thing is. Oh, but anyway, we're going to discuss that today. So stick around and we're going to jump right in. All right, so of course, this is a big gig. This is a big moment. I've had my tickets booked since, I don't know, as soon as they got announced. And not gonna lie, I had some concerns going in. Firstly, the initial venue that they were set to play in, at least in the Birmingham date where I went, I was in this place called the Flapper, which you don't know what the Flapper is. But the Flapper is pretty much a bar slash venue. And if I'm gonna be honest, the venue space, the actual venue space for performances is ridiculously small. Like, I'm talking, I don't know, like, you know, a basement. And the ceilings are like literally like, if you jump high enough, you could probably hit your head on the ceilings. So I was a bit concerned considering a band like Loree Shore, who is currently the biggest band in deathcore right now. I don't know how that would work. But luckily, it got upgraded. And then after a while again, it got upgraded. So I was like, hell yes. We're in a venue that can actually house all the energy, all the violence, all the rage. But something happened. The date got pushed back because initially this gig was meant to happen in January. Now it got pushed back to March, which is when I saw, which was last week. And you know what? Initially I was fine with that, but there was always this waning feeling of like, oh God, I hope it doesn't get cancelled. I hope it doesn't get cancelled. Because even though with the whole COVID thing slowly dying down, I know there's still cases, but for the most part, COVID is pretty much moving away. We're slowly getting back to normality. Gigs and concerts were still getting cancelled or pushed back. Or even worse, they get pushed back to the point where the bands, the promoters don't see it necessary to keep pushing it back. Just cancel it and we'll reschedule it entirely. So that was my worry going into it. So I was eagerly hoping that it was still going to go through. And thankfully, because I'm talking about this today, it did go through. Just before I continue, I just want to say, if you like these kind of videos, let me know down in the comments, as well as let me know what has been your heaviest gig you've ever attended. And besides that, give this video a like if you enjoyed, and of course, subscribe to keep updated on more videos like this. But anyway, we're going to get into the meat, the juicy, beefy meat of this concert. And that is to start off with none other than the band Cabal. So Cabal was the opening act for this concert. They're from Copenhagen. I haven't seen them since Euroblast 2018, all the way back when I went to Germany that time, and they were a blast. They played in a basement-like setting. It was pitch black, it was dark, but oh God, it was so terrifying, but it was so heavy at the same time, and I loved every second of it. Here, a lot has changed in those years, and now they're in a nice big stage, and they killed the performance. Andreas, the vocalist, just nailed his parts so well. He was this commanding harbinger of death that just cut through everything. And as I said before, this was my first experience back in a mosh pit since 2020. And of course, my luck would have it, I got injured. I busted my elbow and I stood up out of the pit having blood all over my hands. Luckily, it wasn't fatal. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it was.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
But I was happy enough that if I was going to get injured, it should be in a mosh pit. And just a quick side note, I think the fact that we haven't had many, heavy gigs in such a long time, I think people are slightly more riled up than usually are, but I digress. But anyway, as I said, Cabal killed it. The set sounded great. They sounded big and full. All the guitars were cutting really nicely. And overall, it was just a really well-balanced mix for the band. When it comes to the key tracks that they played, of course, they played Tongues, which is the song I was in the mosh pit for. They also played Bitter Friend, and some classics as well, and the experience was outstanding. I got to talk to them a bit afterwards, just to say hi, and it was really cool that they remember me after all these years. Now moving on, I think, to probably the biggest one for me, and that was the fact I got to see none other than Distant live and in the flesh. Now, if you've followed this channel for a while now, then you probably know I've done numerous reactions as well as reviews for the band, And I've even interviewed their frontman, Alan, which I'll leave a link somewhere here. Overall, these guys were complete sweethearts. I got to meet them briefly before the gig started. They're great guys. We took some photos. It was just so great to see them in person because it's weird, you know, talking to someone online, especially during the pandemic, but never actually meeting them in person. And when you finally meet them in person, you know, it's a completely different experience. It's like meeting someone for the first time again. And now moving on to the actual set. My God, what another great performance. Heavy, brutal. They played all the good tracks. Not saying that there's many bad ones, but predominantly they played all the good tracks. They opened up with the track Hellmouth, specifically the version from Aeons of Oblivion, which had that sort of a really cool, ominous intro that went straight into it. Followed by that, they also played False Gods, which was one of my personal favorites from Tyrannotopia, so I'm really happy that they played that again. And again, so much heaviness, so much aggression. I couldn't be happier with it. Of course, they played the title track Aeons of Oblivion. They played Oidipism with that gnarly as hell breakdown at the end. Proceeds with I Am Death. The set list was great, and when it comes to the mix, it was just as good. A lot of the stuff I said for Cabal can overlap here with the fact that it was very well balanced, and Alan being a very loud and aggressive vocalist by nature, he was able to cut through the crowd so well, and he was very commanding as a vocalist, getting a lot of crowd interaction with it as well, and overall just amazing. In fact, it was so amazing, I couldn't stop myself from getting more merch from them. So as you can see right here, I ended up getting myself a new distant top, and look at it, it's pretty dope. I like the fact that it's got this asymmetrical techwear sort of vibe, which I'm always digging. I always love wearing stuff like that, and I like the color scheme they went for, this sort of pinkish red with their logo, so it has this really nice contrast between this gothic metal, black metal sort of aesthetic with this very modern techwear aesthetic. And there's also a section in the back as well. There's a back piece as well, which I'll put on the screen somewhere here. But overall, yes, I love this merch. We were also able to get a couple of stickers from them complete on the house. And, you know, this is a small point, but stickers, I didn't realize you can have a quality difference between sticker to sticker. The quality was really high quality for stickers. They had this nice graininess to it. You can clearly tell they spent a bit of extra money on them so that they can get, you know, the highest quality stickers. And the fact that they were just giving away for free is just, wow. For stickers of this high quality, I was expecting to pay for them, but I didn't have to. Amazing. And now we get to the big dog, Loree Shore, the band that everybody was waiting for, and you could clearly tell because the crowd was definitely already riled up. You know, they'd got all that energy from Distant and Cabal, but you could tell at this point of the gig, people were like packing in. They were doing everything they can to see this band. Performance-wise, again, just nailed it. All these bands just know how to put on a good performance. The frontman, Will Ramus, of course, great in commanding the crowd, creating a lot of interaction. There was some wall of deaths as well. And overall, with his vocals and everything, he was just a force to be reckoned with. However, and this is really sad to say, but I actually had some issues in regards to the Loree Shore set. And mainly it is focused on the mix. Now, with the other two bands, it was very well balanced, really heavy. Every instrument could be heard and appreciated. While on this one, it was very kick focused. And when I mean kick focused, I do mean kick focused. Like the main thing you could hear in this entire set was the kick drum. And it wasn't even like a very beefy, nice sounding kick drum. It was this clipped as hell kick drum. Apparently the amps were all hitting the red, which is not good. And as a result, it meant that all the instrumentation and even the vocals were sounding like they were coming through a guitar amplifier on a high gain channel, which isn't great on the ears, especially long term if you know anything about that. And I pretty much had my ear protection on at all costs. Even on the songs where I really wanted to hear it in all its glory, I still had to wear ear protection because the decibel level was really high. And I know that's something that headlining bands tend to do. They tend to push the level a bit higher because they want to sound bigger because they are the headliner. It does have that issue that comes with it. On top of that, the cymbals were ridiculously bright to the point where it was piercing, especially in the 4K, 2 to 4K area. I felt it in my ears. And in all honesty, all the mid-range instruments, the guitars and the bass specifically, it was kind of a struggle to hear them. The main times that I could hear the guitar was definitely on the guitar solo sections where you had, I can't remember his name, I'll put it up here, had his guitar solos, and that's when it was cutting really well. But besides that, most of the time it was a real struggle to hear what the guitars were doing because it was definitely more kick drum and vocal focused. I get that. Will Ramus is an amazing vocalist, and a lot of the reason why they are so big and where they are now is because of his performance on the EP and A Return to Nothingness. But still, this is a band, and I was hoping that it'd be a lot more balanced in that sense. But I don't want to be too negative on this because overall as an experience, it was an amazing experience. To attend one of the heaviest gigs of all time. I'm sorry. There's probably other heavier gigs, but for me, this is probably the heaviest gig I've been to in a very, very long time. And all I can say is I hope to attend more gigs like this. But now, I want you guys to write down below, would you like to see more videos like this where I sort of do a review on concerts that I go to as well. It's kind of like a vlog, but not really. It's kind of more like a documentary on what I went through. And as I said before, write down below what is the heaviest gig that you have attended. And of course, give this video a like if you enjoyed listening to me talk about my experience. But anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.